Throwback Music today, we look at some classic African jazz music acts. Since its beginning in the early 20th century, jazz music has been adopted by musicians of many races, nationalities, and languages. This week on Throwback Music, we look at top 5 male pioneers of the music genre in Africa. Take a look.
Jazz is a music genre that originated in the African-American communities of New Orleans, Louisiana, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, with its roots in blues and ragtime. Since the 1920s, it has been recognized as a major form of musical expression in traditional and popular music. Jazz is characterized by swing and blue notes, complex chords, call and response vocals, polyrhythms and improvisation with roots in European harmony and African rhythmic rituals. As jazz spread around the world, it drew on national, regional and local musical cultures which gave rise to different styles. Here are a few male African acts who are pioneers of jazz music in Africa. Hugh Masekela. Though South African trumpeter and band leader Hugh Masekela possessed an extensive jazz background and credentials, he enjoyed major popular success as one of the earliest innovators in the world fusion genre. Masekela's vibrant trumpet and flugelhorn mixed jazz with South African styles and music from across the African continent and diaspora. His horn was also featured on dozens of recordings in pop, R&B, disco, Afropop and jazz contexts. He had both American and international hits. His 1968 chart-topping cover of Grazing in the Grass also hit the charts in 5 consecutive decades. He worked with bands around the world and collaborated with a startling array of musicians during the 7-decade career. Masekela began singing and playing piano as a child. Influenced by seeing the film Young Man with a Horn at 13, he picked up the trumpet at 14 and played in the Huddlestone Jazz Band. Fela Kuti. It's almost impossible to overstate the impact and importance of Fela Anikulapo Kuti, or just Fela, as he's more commonly known, to the global music village. As a producer, multi-instrumentalist and band leader with a larger-than-life personality, Kuti combined the raw guitars and jazzy undercurrents of traditional highlife with tight horn arrangements, electrifying polyrhythms and politically charged lyrical content for the creation of Afrobeat. Kuti had an unparalleled hot streak throughout the 70s with frequent electrifying concert performances and genre-defining Afrobeat albums. Jeffrey Oriema. The internationally acclaimed jazz musician spent most of his musical career in France after fleeing his home country of Uganda in 1977 during the Idi Amin regime. He, however, returned from exile in 2016. Oriema earned his international reputation on the release of his second album, Beats the Border. He had collaborated with Peter Gabriel, Brian Eno and others, including Jean-Pierre Alassane, who was on guitar, and Patrick Buchman, who was on drums, percussion and backing vocals. Manu Dibango. Manu Dibango is a Cameroonian songwriter and jazz musician who is known for his dexterity on the saxophone and vibraphone. His 1972 single, Soul Makossa, is often regarded as one of the first disco records. He developed a musical style fusing jazz, funk, and traditional Cameroonian music. Mulatu Atsake. Known as the father of Ethio jazz, Atsake is also a revered jazz musician. Born in Jima, Mulatu was musically trained in London, New York City, and Boston, where he combined his jazz and Latin music interests with traditional Ethiopian music. Mulatu led his band while playing vibraphone and conga drums, instruments that he introduced into Ethiopian popular music, as well as other percussion instruments, keyboards and organs. His albums focus primarily on instrumental music, and Mulatu appears on all 3 known albums of instrumentals that were released during the Ethiopian Golden Age in the 1970s.